What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode. Today we're gonna be talking all about what? Oh, hold on. I got you. Let me put your sunglasses on real quick. Almost died from my skateboard. Is that better? All right. So, as I was saying before, I realized we were all blown out and forgot the filters. Today's video is going to be all about ND and circular polarizers. But this isn't going to be a how-to video or why should you use them or what they're for or anything like that. So if you haven't seen any of those, I have plenty of those videos. You can check them out. There's probably one up here that'll tell you what ND and circular polarizers are. But this one's going to be all about the long-term review, my long-term review of the Polar Pro circular polarizer and 6-stop filters. So this isn't the variable ND filter. This is just, I have the 6-stop and the circular polarizer. And I've had them for about 6 months now, and I figured it'd be a great time to go ahead and give you my thoughts on how they've been performing. But first, I'm gonna keep skating a little bit. Here is some clips with and without the filter, and then we'll go somewhere quieter because this road drives me insane. It's no bueno for YouTube filmings. So, see you in a second. I think there's gonna be a sunset. Windy as crap up here, but I think there's gonna be a sunset. So, skate session is over. I'm out of breath because I've been skating and now hiking. So hopefully those few clips helped you see like the motion and creating that natural motion blur and stuff like that. Like I said, this isn't gonna be a tutorial on why and hows and whens for filters and all that, but I did wanna show the other reason is color cast. So you can take a look at that stuff. You can take a look at these pictures with and without. And I have not seen any color cast in the 6 months that I've been using these Polar Pros, both the circular polarizer and the 6-stop. So for this one, I got to use a step-up ring. This is a 77 mil, and I got the 82 mil. My advice, always get the biggest size possible. So the lens I'm shooting on right now that you're watching this video on is the Tamron 2470 2.8, and that's a 82 mil. So that's the biggest one I have right now. Everything else is smaller and get step-up rings. That's gonna reduce the vignetting for stuff like this too. All right, time-lapse set up. So I got the 6-stop on there. No polarizer this time. So 6 months now, I've been using these a lot, mostly for time-lapse and long exposure shots and video work. So a lot of, if you guys watch my channel, pretty much anything over the past 6 months that you've seen that's been those three things, including most of these videos where I'm out in bright daylight, I've been using the Polar Pro for the video. I've been using it for all of my images, for anything that I've needed a filter for the past 6 months. All right, time-lapse is all set up. I've got it on second long exposures using my Polar Pro ND6. So I put my Polar Pro 6-stop filter on. And now I've got the Polar Pro 6-stop ND filter on. I love the round filters. I love the 6-stop that they send me. I think it's kind of that perfect medium for good for long exposure stuff for the single shots, and it's also, I think for most people though, it'd probably be a little too harsh for using it for video. But like I said, I'm in New Mexico and it's brighter more often than not here, so I actually get away with the 6-stop really well. All right, some other things to note quality wise, these have been the best filters I've ever used. And before we go any further, I guess I should say this is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. They're not paying me to say this. They did send me these for free about 6 months ago, like I said, and I've done other videos on them, so if you follow my channel, you may have seen those. And I've said that before too, but I will say it again. I'm not paid to say this. All these thoughts are my own, and I genuinely love these filters. I have used a lot of filters. I've used every major brand, from Tiffin to Lee to B&W, all of that stuff. I've used a lot of filters. These have been by far, they've been on quality. They've been on par with the B+W, the B&W, however you want to say that. That brand has always been my #1 go-to. They're expensive, fancy, German, engineered, nice filters. And these are definitely on par with that. So I've been very happy with them. I love the looks. I love the aesthetics. I love the coating that they put on there. It's hydrophobic. It helps with reducing fingerprint smudges, and it helps with water droplets, all that good stuff. I do like the gold brass looking, it's more of a gold looking tint to it, you know, on the ring. It's kind of a nice flare. It sticks out a little bit, so I appreciate that, being able to see it. Looks great. So that's all of the quality stuff. I've dropped these filters quite a few times. I've dropped them in water. I've dropped them on rocks. I've dropped them on the sand, and they've held up. Oh, so one thing about quality that's not maybe so great. Let's see. All right, here we go. So they come with these really nice cases, especially I like these. So these cases, and they're labeled so you don't mix them up already. They're labeled with the size and what filter it is, so I really love that. This one is a different material than this one. This is my circular polarizer, and it's more of a metallic case. This thing is solid. There's nothing to break on. It's just a big hard piece of plastic. They also come with, and I don't have them, they're in my house somewhere, they also came with the Velcro-y softer pouch. So if you want something lighter and thinner, then those are definitely the way to go. And I really enjoy those too. So the one thing that I want to mention about these though, just this last week, I've noticed that there's like a little panel. So this little panel has kind of popped up and has got broke, loose, whatever. And I don't know how that happened. I mean, I'm really rough with my gear. But, I mean, other than that, I haven't, like, intentionally tried to break this. Just over the past 6 months of being in my bag and, I guess, being smacked around, this little panel has popped off, so that's kind of a bummer. It doesn't mess with the integrity of this hard shell case overall at all. That's a lot of alls. But overall, I mean, the case is still rock solid and all that, but I didn't realize this little panel could even come off. So that's one little integrity, and that's why I'm doing the long-term review. So, you know, I wouldn't have noticed this the first time I messed with these lenses, I mean, these filters. But like I said, it's been like 6 months now, maybe longer, I don't know. Yeah, like Camera Lady said, it doesn't affect the filter at all. The filters themselves are rock solid. It's just something I've noted that I thought I'd point out since this is a long-term review. And then it doesn't do that with these ones, because this one is just one solid chunk of plastic that has no panels on it, and this thing has remained in great shape. So I'm very happy overall with the quality of the packaging that they came with, especially the little thinner Velcro ones. When you're trying to stay light and you don't want these big, heavy, bulky things, you don't need them. Those things are just perfect. You can fit a lot more stuff. They're a lot lighter. But I'm also glad that I have these hard shell things, because a lot of times, if you see my other videos, you might know too, I've had some issues where I've put these in my back pocket and then I've like slid down a mountain or something. So these have gone sliding down the mountain on my backside. So props to Polar Pro for including such tough cases and for making such tough filters. They have survived me for the last better part of 6 months to a year. So very happy. Looking forward to the next few years with them. So more on the integrity. Another thing that I really like about the Polar Pros is their threads are really solid. I haven't had any issues on the back side here. They're nice metal threads, it seems. But I haven't, regardless, I haven't had any issues with threading on any of my lenses or any of the step-up rings. So I have some third-party step-up rings. They're metal step-up rings. I definitely advise, if you're going to get step-up rings, to get better quality ones. Polar Pro does make metal step-up rings, but actually when they sent me these, they were all out of them and I never got them, so I had to get a third-party. But I don't have any issues with, like, I've never had them get stuck that I couldn't get them undone, and I've never had any threads mess up any of my lens threads, or I've stacked multiple filters, you know, this CP onto the 6-stop. Never had any problems with the threading. So over the last 6 months, those have held up really well. Very happy with that. So let's talk about image quality real quick. I've never had any problem with image quality degradation. I haven't seen any loss of IQ at all. There has been, like I said, there's been no color cast that I've noticed, especially when you compare it to some cheaper ones like the Tiffins, or the Lee filters that I had were horrible with the color cast. So no color cast there. You will notice vignetting, and it's noticeable, especially when you're shooting on wider stuff. This is a 16 millimeter that I'm shooting on here. The vignetting goes away, of course, as you increase your focal length, but it is there, and that's something that I don't really think is, the only way you could get away from that is by getting larger filters, like I mentioned, and then having step-up rings or whatever. But if you're shooting like on something, you know, that's the same size filter, like this 24-70 with this 82 mil, then you're just gonna have to zoom in a little bit to get rid of it or fix it in post. But that's just physics. I don't fault Polar Pro for that, because I haven't really seen anybody do any better. So I'm happy with the little amount of vignette that I've been seeing. Talk about the CP, the circular polarizer here. I haven't seen any abnormal or like horrible cross polarizing, any wonky patterns or anything like that, except for, of course, when you shoot with the wide angles. That's just straight up physics. The wider angle you have with a circular polarizer, the more you're going to see that big dark spot in your image there. But with normal focal lengths and under normal conditions, I haven't had any issues with the quality of the circular polarizer. It's actually a pretty strong circular polarizer, and I think it's actually closer to, it's almost 2 stops. It's like a stop and a half, maybe a stop and 2/3 in terms of light. So that's actually kind of nice for a lot of things, especially like long exposures and stuff like that. If you just need a little extra bit of that darkening and that neutral density, like light dropping there, then the polarizer is going to help you out with that by about a stop and a half. And in terms of the polarization, it does really well with cutting through the glare. It actually, I've been very impressed with the amount of glare that it's able to cut through, like water and glass, and looking through windows and stuff like that. So been very happy with the circular polarizer overall. Vignetting with the circular polarizer, same goes. You're gonna see vignetting at the wide end, the wider you shoot, but I try not to shoot with too wide on the circular polarizer. I really love it for shooting mountains. So like you see mountains behind me. I really love shooting mountains in the distance and putting the circular polarizer actually on my 1-400 or my 70-200, something really long. It does really well with cutting through the haze and making the colors on the mountains pop and all that kind of stuff. So that's been a big benefit of circular polarizer. Another thing that I've loved using my circular polarizer for, and I made a video about it, you can check it out right here, but that's shooting the Milky Way during the full moon. So the full moon will wash the stars out, it'll wash the Milky Way out, but you have one of these guys and it's a good quality one, you'll actually be able to get some decent shots of the Milky Way under the full moon, which creates really interesting landscapes. And definitely go check out that video if you haven't seen it, because it's pretty cool and I really enjoy doing stuff like that. All right, I think that's all I'm gonna say. It's getting dark. My hands are about to fall off. I think Brittany's hands have already fallen off, so I don't know how she's gonna pack up all this camera gear. But I think it's tea time, it's dinner time. I'm gonna wrap this up. I can't recommend them enough. Well, I guess the only downside is the price. So they are a bit expensive. They're not the most expensive out there, but they're not the cheapest either. And this is one of those things where you get what you pay for. A lot of people say about the variable ND filter that they have, the Peter McKinnon version, that you're just paying for the name and blah, blah, blah. But you're really not, because you're paying for the quality that Polar Pro has already put into that. So for me, it's a no-brainer. It's definitely worth it. I'm actually probably gonna pick up, they have, Polar Pro has the ND and circular polarizers built into one filter, and they have them at different strengths. So I probably will actually be purchasing that here pretty soon. I want the 4-stop filter with a CP. I think that combined lens is going to save me a lot of hassle. And oh, one more thing concerning the quality wise, when you stack them, you're going to see more vignetting. But again, that's not Polar Pro's fault, that's physics' fault, because the more you stack, the farther away from the lens you're getting, you're going to see that vignetting. So you're going to zoom in a little bit. But even through stacking multiple filters, I haven't seen any image quality loss or any color casting or anything like that. So it's been fantastic being able to stack multiples if you need. Like I said, all I have is the 6-stop ND filter and this circular polarizer. So being able to stack them together and then be able to get shots like this has really been beneficial, and I've been really impressed with the quality there. So no issues with that. All right, I'm really gonna wrap it up now. If you have any questions about anything that I went over or didn't go over concerning Polar Pro, concerning these filters, concerning the quality, or anything you want to know about them that I forgot, leave those in the comments below, and I'll definitely answer them. Hit that like button if this video helped you out. Subscribe if you haven't already, because I've got new videos every week, and I really appreciate your support. All right, here's a bunch of cool stuff that I've gotten with these filters. Hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.